Hello, this is Rick Moore, the Resourceful Human. Thank you for joining us today. Today, we're going to start to talk about how small businesses struggle with automating sales, right? And what they can do, some simple, easy steps to diagnose their issue, diagnose the sales process, and then begin to think about how do they automate sales to compete against very large businesses in this new day and age where big businesses are using data or using machinery or using technology to constantly bombard us to buy stuff from them. But more importantly, what they're really doing is they're flooding the market so small businesses' messages can't get out. So if you like what you hear today, please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. And if you really like what you hear, please hit that little bell and it'll alert you anytime we create new content. So I thank you for being here today. So let's jump right into it. So the purpose of this video and what really inspired it is literally every day I'm talking to multiple small business owners. And, these are HVAC companies and professional services firms like CPAs and law firms and, all kinds of business to business type of sales, right? Where process has to be part of it. But in the old days, right, let's call it a couple of years ago when the economy was much different than it is today, and the world was much different than it is today, it was easier to go out and shake someone's hand and get them to agree to a contract, or pick up the phone, call them in their office, right? A novel idea, call them in their office, have a conversation, and then move forward. There wasn't this, hey, let's have a Zoom meeting. Let's never see each other. I'll call you on your cell phone. I'll text you. That really wasn't part of business. And exactly what we're doing here today, talking through YouTube, wasn't even really for most people my age or technologically challenged people, kind of part of the vernacular. So, but today it is, right? So diagnosing how you're going to move forward and sell in this new environment that we're clearly in. And how are we going to build our processes to be efficient and have the machine working when we're not? So really what I'm going to show you here is I was beginning to write as a friend of mine asked me to do a diagnosis of his sales process and why it was breaking down. And, I started to write this thing, and I thought this first page was pretty interesting because I think a lot of small business owners struggle with the same exact thing, right? And the first thing is breaking down the sales process, right? So in the old days, you hire a salesperson, they have a phone, they have a desk, they have a computer, they go and they do what they do, right? And doing what they do is very expensive from beginning to end, right? So think about these 5 steps, and they are, right here. Finding leads, right? Do you want your most expensive, highest paid salesperson finding leads, right? Seems like probably overkill, right? The second part of it is qualifying them, right? So qualifying leads, are they the right size? Are they the right target audience? Is that person talking to the right person in the organization, right? It's not just a name. Do they have the money to buy what you have, right? And more importantly, do they need what you have, right? So qualifying those leads and finding leads. So steps 1 and 2 are very, let's call it administrative, and can use technologies, various things that we're going to get into in subsequent videos on how to find and qualify leads, right? Now, the third thing, engaging those leads, right? So in the old days, right, let's call it a couple of years ago, engaging the lead meant, let's go to lunch, let's go to a ball game, I'll come by your office, I'll bring you some, some cookies, and we'll sit down and we'll chat, and I'll continue to engage you. I'll continue to build that relationship with you so that ultimately it makes it easier for the prospect to say, I want to do business with that person. They know what they're doing. They understand their product. They understand my business, and I like that person, right? I like that person is a very important thing, right? So finding those leads, qualifying those leads, and engaging those leads, right? So engaging in today's world, think about it, it's very electronic. I send an email. I make a white page offer, right? I, give you some sort of content, i.e. YouTube, that you may not have gotten in other places. My engagement is almost all electronic these days, right? So does that require a salesperson, or does that require sales automation, right? So now you're starting to see that very expensive, high capital, salesperson, three of their five things already, you can start to see in this new day and age, this new way of selling, that sales automation can almost replace that high expense. It's scalable, right? The machine can be built out to touch thousands of people every day and engage them, find them, qualify them, etc. Now, the third side, or the fourth one, proposing to leads, right? I think that does fall back on the traditional salesperson, right? But so proposing to those leads is, okay, we found you, we qualified you, we've engaged you, we've given you enough information. Now it's time to propose the deal to you, right? Here's how it's going to work. And if you think about some bigger companies, this is how they're doing it, right? They engage you and they say, when you're ready, make an appointment with Susie on our team, right? And then Susie and you get on some sort of Zoom call, right? And that Zoom call takes place and they propose to you. They understood what you've already looked at because they found you, qualified you, and engaged you. Now they're proposing to you, right? Again, it's very much technology driven. It's a Zoom call or something like that. So now you can have one salesperson proposing to all the leads that were found, qualified, and engaged, right? So instead of needing, let's just say, 10 salespeople, now you might need one salesperson who's handling one part of the sales function, proposing to the leads, and the machinery, right, is doing the top three, which is finding, qualifying, and engaging. So you see the efficiencies and the scalability there, right? The machine could be running, finding and qualifying leads and engaging them when you're asleep. Beautiful, right? Then the fifth stage is closing. And I think this is a hybrid, right? So this is a hybrid. This could be the phone call. Hey, we spoke the other day. Are you ready to go? Or it can also be the sales automation machine that, hey, you spoke to Susie 2 days ago. Are you ready to sign the deal? Here's the paperwork, right? Hey, we haven't heard. No, next email. Hey, we haven't heard from you in a few days. Do you want to move forward, right? So the machinery can do the most. So what traditionally was done by a salesperson, those 5 steps in the process: find, qualify, engage, propose, close, now typically is done they're only doing one part. So now you can take one person, one set of labor cost, training cost, potential turnover and recruiting costs, and make that one person who's handling much more than if they were doing all 5 of these things. So you see the benefits of sales automation are tremendously powerful. And when captured properly, and we're going to talk more about that later in some subsequent videos, when captured properly, your organizational cost structure is going to decrease, profits increase, right? And scalability goes through the roof. And what does scalability give us? The ability to sell our business at one point in time. So I thank you for listening today. Stay human, stay resourceful, and please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Thanks again.